JSheetz Artwork.
Ballpoint pens. Now these pens you can find pretty much everywhere. I mean, you go to any office store, even any retail store or any art store, they're going to have ballpoint pens. Probably the most well-known pen of all that anybody's ever used. You'll find these pretty much any office or anywhere that you go. But today we're going to be talking about some of the things that I like and some of the things that I dislike about drawing with ballpoint pens. What are the pros, what are the cons, anything else related to that, and the drawings that I do with these. Now the ones that I have here, which is the big round stick, I have the fine and the medium size. These do come in different sizes such as fine, medium, and bold. And the ones that I have here, red, blue, and black. These do come in a variety of colors, depending on the brand that you get, such as the Bic here. You can get a variety of colors, whereas in other brands you might not get as much variety, or you might actually get more of a variety than what you see here. Now, let's talk about some of the things that I don't like about these pens. One thing I don't like about these pens is that the ink might not last as long or be very good if doing a finished portrait, such as if you want something that's archival, that's going to last a long time. So if you do put something in a frame with a ballpoint pen drawing, you're going to want to make sure that you spray something on it or have a type of glass or something on the frame to where it keeps the sunlight and UV rays from damaging the ink of the drawing that you've created. Another thing I wouldn't like about these is that sometimes if you're drawing with these, such as if they get a little bit too warm, or maybe you have them setting in a position like this for too long, and then I have noticed that sometimes the ink in the tip builds up and just keeps leaking out, and then it just pretty much doesn't stop. But these pens are so cheap, you can get, dozens upon dozens or even hundreds of them for extremely cheap. Another thing I don't like about them is that these can break pretty easily. As you can see, they're pretty flexible. So if you have these in your pocket, then let's say you have them in your pocket and you lay down or something, or you sit down, these can break pretty easily. So yeah, that could be an issue. Although they are pretty flexible, but they could break pretty easily if you were to sit on these, if they're in your pocket. Another thing I might not like about these is that the ink smudges pretty easily. So if you're doing drawings with these pens, I would advise that you make sure that you have your hand resting on a piece of paper, or maybe you're wearing some type of glove to help you so that your hand isn't moving across the paper and causing the ink to smear everywhere. Now that's pretty much all that I can really think of as far as cons of these pens. There's a lot of good things about them that I like, and we're going to talk about those. So the good things I like about these pens is, one, they're extremely cheap. You can get these pens in an assortment of colors and nib sizes. Another is that one of these pens for drawing can last you months and many, 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 many months. I mean, if you took this pen and was to scribble on a piece of paper for hours and hours and hours to try to use up all the ink, you would still have ink in it. So it lasts a very long time. So they're very cheap, they last a very long time. And with ballpoint pens, one thing you can actually do is draw very realistic portraits by holding the pen at an angle. And then that allows you to do shading, kind of like you would do with a pencil. So for people that are beginner artists and you want to draw with a pen, I actually recommend you start with a ballpoint pen if you want to be able to do shading like you do with a pencil. Another good thing about these pens is that, as I said with the shading, it can help people that are beginners that want to do some drawing, but they want something that is more permanent, something that's a pen when they want to get more into pens and they're transitioning over from using graphite. This is a good alternative, and because you can still shade and do things like you can with a pencil, it's going to be a lot harder to erase. Although you can erase with certain types of erasers, but you're still going to see the ink on there. So that's some of the other good things that I can think about it. Also, I think I've already mentioned this, but that would be the cost. You can buy so many of these pens for so cheap that if you lose a pen, you're not really worried about it. I mean, you can lose 10 of these pens and you're losing, what, maybe a quarter? They don't cost that much. And so if you're out somewhere drawing, you can always find a ballpoint pen anywhere, at any art store, at any retail store, and then you have another one to draw with. Another one is that when I'm drawing with these, I can do shading, I can do stippling, I can do a variety of things like I could if I was combining a pen and a pencil. That's pretty much how I think of ballpoint pens. If you took a pen, such as maybe a technical pen, and then you, well, actually more like a gel pen. If you took a gel pen and mixed it with a pencil and then put that together into one thing, you would end up with a ballpoint pen, because it does smudge a little bit, but it does allow you to shade, which you can, just like you can do with graphite pencils. Although you can shade with gel pens, but it's very difficult to do in comparison to using these. So those are some of the good things about them. And yeah, definitely the biggest thing of all is cost. They're very cheap. I've got a lot of these pens, and actually I've got hundreds of them, so I don't think I'm ever going to run out of these pens anytime soon. So do let me know in the comments below what you think of these pens. What are some of the pros and cons that you have for these, such as when it comes to doing drawings, or when it comes to the things you like or don't like. But these pens are pretty good. I think they're great for any beginner artist, and they're really cheap. That's the main thing, is that they're so cheap, and you can still do realistic drawings and portraits with them. So you don't always need expensive art supplies. It comes more down to more your skill than anything. So do let me know in the comments below what you think, if there's anything you'd like me to review or go over, or any questions. So let me know what you think of these pens and why it is that you like to draw with them, or the reasons that you don't, and maybe some other pens you'd like me to review or anything else. If you want to contact me, check the link below to contact me by email, the easiest way, or commenting below this video with any questions. Until then, thank you for watching. Give us a like if you want, share this with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, have a good day and have fun doodling out there. Make sure that if you're drawing with your ballpoint pen, don't worry if you lose it. There's always more out there. Millions of more pens, and they're all very cheap.